here in the managed communication, please note that we have taken this from a PMI reference book, and in PMI PMP you have lot of chapters like cost management, formulas involved like earned value, etc. And so that's what this PV, EV, AC and all is there. So here this cost management chapter, so please ignore it because it is related to PMP exam. This I have taken it as a reference because RMP is nothing but the integration of all. We should have the knowledge of communication and the human resource management also. So that's why this has been taken. But in this overall, this is taken from PMI reference book, PMP reference book. So we should just be aware of that these are the managed communication processes, because it could come in RMP also. Next comes the part of control communication. Before we go to control communication, so we should be aware that managed communication process will result in these various project reports, like your status report, progress report, trend report, etc., as well as the other form of communication. So that is the output of managed communication. There may also be updates to project documents, the project management plan and organizational process assets such as project records and lesson learned. Now comes the control communication process, right? What is control communication? Before going to the detail of the control communication, with control communication, basically you are assessing how communications are going on your project to make sure information is flowing as planned. So whenever it is controlled, the PMI has all these processes. One is you plan it, then the manage part comes in the execution, and then control. Where you control it, as a project manager, whatever you have been planned, is it going as per plan, right? You have planned it, but it has in the execution, actually in the real life, is it going as per the plan? That is how a kind of check. So in the right way, whether it is going in the right way, the right people and the right time. Your communication management plan will have details on how to measure the effectiveness and efficiency of communication. So this process is about measuring to determine whether the communication management plan is being followed and whether communications are meeting the needs of the stakeholder or not. Because in perspective to communication, what is the controlling is nothing but whether the stakeholder is happy with your status reports or not, whether the senior management is happy with your progress reporting or they need more information. If not, you need to identify where communication is breaking down and respond and adjust as necessary to meet stakeholders' communication needs. How can you tell if communication is breaking? In addition to the metric you have established in your communication management plan, you will need to rely on some soft skill here, because you need to ask them in person whether the communication is right or not. Some problem will be obvious. People will let you know, for example, if they're not getting the report, or people will always have the feedback that it is a very lengthy report or it is not. Likewise, they are meant to say, or you will know people aren't reading meeting minutes if they're not following up on action items directed towards them. It is not always problem in your communication mechanism, but in real life also, if you are giving certain status report, people don't have time and they would have not read the reports. But you will also benefit from encouraging stakeholders to let you know whether communication is working for them. As mentioned earlier, you should ask your stakeholders for the feedback and accordingly change your reports. So basically, can the project manager control all communication? No, because at the end you cannot do all the work on your own. There are certain part which is the team's responsibility also. Then should the project manager try to control communication? Yes, because at the end all the processes has to be controlled by him. He can make here or there changes and control the communication, like going miscommunication, unclear directions and screw. What percentage of the project manager spend in communicating? It is, I think, almost 90 to 92% is spent on communication. So we need to understand that almost all the time, most of the time of the project manager is has gone in, it will be it will be invested in communication. So now when we say control communication, so the input is, if the input is going to be the project management plan, then how is it used in control communication? The communication management plan and additional pieces of the PMP are important to this control process because they allow you to compare actual communication on the project against planned communication. So whenever you have a project management plan, it serves as your baseline. They provide details on that what needs to be distributed, and because in the project management plan you give your communication plan where you give a details that to whom you are going to communicate, whom these kind of information is going to distribute, and also the responsibility for communication distribution. Other components of the project management plan you will use for this control process are the performance measurement baseline, assumptions and constraints and risks that will need to be measured and controlled against. So basically, project management plan is a very basic input to the performance reports we generate, and because it provides you the baseline. Then comes the project communications part. You will need to compare the actual project communications to the communication management plan. How do the various reports and other communications hold up against what you plan? Are they giving you the intended results, right? So that is also the another consideration. Now we continue with it, like how some more inputs can, how you control it, used in control communication, like your issue log. Issue log is nothing but your list of issues with the customers or your internal issues. An issue log, if you recall from the human resource management thing, can be used to communicate issues on the project areas of confusions, disagreement, conflict and concern that require attention and resolution. The issue logs help you assess the causes of the issues, their impacts on the project and corrective actions to address them. This is a useful tool